Hello, Vitaly Matrosov is here, and today we will talk about online fundraising. We will explore some basics about online fundraising, and we will also know about some tips related to online fundraising. Actually, when we talk about online fundraising, we need to get into account two kind of stuff. The first is about fundraising in general, and online fundraising has almost the same rules and principles as regular fundraising. And when we organize online fundraising campaign, we need to design it, to develop it as a regular fundraising campaign. And another kind of stuff is about so-called online marketing, and we can use here all modern principles and ways and channels of online marketings applied to our goal to raise money online. So we will go step by step, and we will review some basics and tips about online fundraising. Let's go. What do we need to do when we are going to conduct online fundraising campaign? The first step is prepare financial infrastructure. Before we start online fundraising campaign, we need to prepare all kind of things related to get money officially and to collect it officially, and to get it in cash or to our bank account. The second step is develop campaign strategy. I told you already that online fundraising campaign, it's also fundraising campaign, and we need to develop a strategy for this campaign as for usual fundraising campaign. The third step is create your web hub or website or so-called web landing page, and to make it working for you. And the fourth step is launch your fundraising campaign and conduct campaign. So let's go to explore these four basics steps related to online fundraising. As for the first step, prepare financial infrastructure. What do we need to do here? Actually, the first step is just get legal. Get legal all things related to your campaign. Just as with other types of fundraising, online solicitations must be registered with appropriate officials. And the first step you need to do is check with your government requirements in your country related to collecting money and related to possible channels of connecting money, and about all things about bank accounts and possibility to get cash, etc., etc. You just need to understand what kind of papers, what kind of documents you will need to get legal your donations and to use it further for your activity. So the second step is just define channels of receiving donations, and you need to choose here channels what would be appropriate to you, and channels which are spread in your country. What kind of channels you can use, what kind of channels can use your audience, and so you see here some typical channels of receiving donations. It could be credit cards, it could be electronic money, so-called e-money, for example web money, and you can just Google something about it. It could be PayPal. It's widely spread international system of payments, and it could be a way of receiving donations through SMS, short messages, paid short messages, etc., etc., etc. And just check what kind of channels are available in your country, and choose what kind of channels you will use in your campaign. The next step is set up account for collecting donations. It could be account in PayPal, or it could be account in a bank, so-called merchant account, and so set up place where you will collect your donations in order to receive it. And next step is define channels for transferring donations to cash or to a bank account. For example, using PayPal. If you use PayPal, sometimes it's not so easy to get money from PayPal account in some countries, and you need to identify what kind of channels you will use to transfer donations to your organization. It could be checks, or transfer to your debit card, or transfer to your bank account. And before you start the campaign, you need to understand how you will get money really to you. And again, you need to identify here how will you process credit card donations, and do you want to set up your own system, or maybe you want to engage a company that provides such kind of services for you. Another important questions: identify here, would you like to be able to offer recurring donations to your supporters? And two important questions here is, what kind of services will you use? You need just to identify it here. And the main criteria here is the percent of commission that you will need to pay for using such services, and is it simple to you or not. And you need to be prepared that there are a lot of stuff, a lot of papers in your country here related to this question. Let's go further. And as for credit card processing, You can use, I think, two main ways of credit card processing, if it's available in your country. The first is so-called merchant account. Merchant account is the special account in a bank that allows you to process credit cards payments. And the benefit of having your own merchant account is that your non-profit organization, your name, will be named on the donor's credit card statements, and funds will flow directly to your non-profit's bank account. And the disadvantages are that your organization will need to go through the same checks, the same credit checks and paperwork as any other business, which may take some time and your patience. So the advantages of having a merchant account is your name will appear on donors' credit card statements, and your donors will know what kind of payments they done, and so it's excellent branding opportunities to have your own merchant account, and you will receive funds directly to your account, and it will take less time. But the main disadvantages is pretty complicated procedure to getting a merchant account, and sometimes complicated fee structures, and it may take a longer time to set up, and more legal hoops to jump through. The second way is third-party processors. And as for third-party processors, if your organizations don't want to apply for a merchant account, choosing a third-party processor may be just a solution to you. Third-party processor uses its own merchant account to accept donations for other organizations. The third-party processor passes on donations to the non-profit minus processing fee. There may be also some delay in getting these funds into your own account. So the main thing to think about here is the percent of commission also, which you will pay to the third-party processors. And you definitely need to check all available options in your country. And what's important, one of the downsides of using a third-party processor is that very often the name that shows up on the donor's credit card statement is not that on the intended non-profit organizations, and sometimes it could be not appropriate to donors. Good news, some third-party processors specialize in non-profit card processing, and they have special websites that you can refer donors to, offer other services such as sending acknowledgement messages and website pages that can be branded by your non-profit. But a branded site, however, doesn't mean that the donor credit card statement will carry the receiving non-profit name. non-profits using third-party processors commonly include information on the acknowledgement message to the donor about what they will see on their statements. And also there are some commercial third-party processors as well, such as PayPal, I mentioned, and they have fees range about several percents per transaction for non-profit organizations, and it really depends on the volume of donations you have per month. And PayPal also offers several opportunities for non-profits, including some so-called widgets, which you can use on your own website. And advantages of using third-party processor is quick and easy way to set up and manage. You don't need to do a lot of papers, etc. And it's also relatively inexpensive. And your customers could be confident in some well-known and widely used third-party processors. Main disadvantages: the name of your organization may not appear on donor credit card statement, and it could be possible lag time in getting funds into your own bank account, and so sometimes it could be possible to re-enter donor information into non-profits' own financial records. So I prepared some useful links, and maybe it's not the best, but I recommend you to visit these sites to just explore some opportunities to online fundraising, and to explore some online fundraising platforms, and maybe it would be good to you. So it's just first that came to my mind. So you can use search engines like Google and to input their online fundraising platform, and it will show you maybe the best results in your country. And also I would like to pay your attention to so-called crowdfunding platforms, and I put here just an example of link to one of crowdfunding platform, one of good crowdfunding platform, which can be used by your organization also. So go further. The next step of doing fundraising campaign, online fundraising campaign, is develop a campaign strategy. So we need to undertake some steps to develop campaign strategy. The first step is set up a goal for your campaign. You definitely need to set up a goal. Just have a goal. And no fundraising campaign is open-ended, so you need to know how much money you are going to raise. It's very simple, but sometimes it's pretty hard to set up a goal, and you need to just set up a goal for your campaign. you need to understand when you will end your fundraising campaign. And the second step is segment your donors. Just answer the question: who and why will support you? You can use all your expertise and experience in segmenting donors. Just think a little bit about segmenting your audience. Segments could be based on age, gender, level of income, interests, previous giving history, geography, regions, or maybe just by a role, such as manager, donor, volunteer, etc. And when you develop some versions of your campaign to fit target groups, just test your maybe messages or materials you will spread within your audiences. Testing involves breaking down a particular group into smaller groups and testing different versions will give you more information. And track the results when you testing, and you will soon get feel for what kinds of appeals work for whom. So you need definitely to segment your donors in order to work with every donor specially. And then just develop communication strategy for your campaign. Developing communication strategy is just the same as developing strategy for informational campaign, and we considered this during offline training. And so you need to identify here whole table, group by group, and you need to identify it here target groups, and to make so-called slice of consciousness of target groups. And you need to set up tasks for each group, to develop messages related to a campaign, and to choose tools and channels you are going to reach your target groups. So what I would stress here is just develop a good message. And what is really important is make your message easy to understand and concise, and use an emotionally compelling message. And the first step is to design a campaign message that tells who you are, what are you doing, and why you need to raise money online. So again, make your message easy to understand and concise. It needs to be a message that people will want to spread on their social media accounts, maybe by word of mouth, and in emails, any other ways of communication. So use an emotionally compelling message and tell people real stories about how your charity has helped people, and how the donations will continue to help people. And when you will conduct your campaign, keep running totally on your website so people can see how you're doing. just keep running, spreading information. So this creates buzz and may help encourage more donations. The next step is this slide is about develop good message, and two main principles: make your message easy to understand and concise, and use emotionally compelling messages. And the next step is create your web hub. Create your web hub. So the next step is create your web hub. What do you need to do first is create attractive landing page. Of course, you need a place on the web where your audience finally will stop and make a donation. And this space should be attractive and catching people and moving them to make a donation. Online marketing specialists call this landing page, like plane landing in the airport, so your audience will land here on this page. And you don't actually need a flashy website, but you really need an attractive web that's easy to understand and navigate. Design it in a way that will please all ages and especially your target audience. Then you need to showcase donors and what they give really accomplish. You can include testimonials and photo of donors. You can provide photos of people receiving help here. You can include success stories, stories about real people, and you can use a lot of inspirational photographs or maybe video. You can provide here a specific level of donation. You can level your donations, and you need to make a donation button big and easy to find here. It's very important because online marketing for nonprofits ultimately leads to one goal: turning interested people into donors. And if you need this, you need to put a big donation button in some places on your website, so that anyone can see it easily. And you need to provide easy to understand explanations of how donations are used and for what. So it's about creating your web hub. Just remember, attractive and dynamic website is at the heart of your online fundraising campaign. You can work on design here. You can consider different variants of designs, and it just be simple, attractive, and showing real stories and showcase your donors. Next step we need to do is adopt your platform to view and work on different devices: desktops, notebooks, tablets, smartphones. People now use different type of devices, and you need to adopt your web hub to be working on different platforms, on different devices. So it makes easy to reach your web hub and to make a donation from any kind of platform. So everyone has a preference for communicating and donating, maybe online or from the mobile phone, and you need to make sure you accommodate as many of them as possible. The next really important step is conducting so-called SEO, search engines optimizations. SEO is really important because of effective online marketing requires optimizing your website for search engines. You need to be on top in search queries, in search engines, and if you have a great web hub but it's not visible on the internet, it would be not good. So you need to learn here a lot of things about keyword marketing. You can use such services like Google AdWords to find keywords and keyword phrases that pertain to your organization and that are popular with internet searches. And you just need to remember that you can play with these, you can play with search engines, but don't try to play with them without rules. So search engines don't like people or organizations that try to game their systems. You need to write for readers but not for search engines, and that means using natural language, that means using right keywords, and if you stuff your content with a lot of keywords that don't relate to the content of your website, search engines will penalize your content rather than promote it. Write press releases and put them in a press room on your website. Provide a list of resources, start a blog, send out email newsletters, and put them in archive of your website. And all of this will give the search engines a reason to crawl your site frequently, boosting your online marketing by making your organization more highly visible on their search pages. And just remember, the internet has becoming highly visual, and readers love videos, love pictures, and so you can check out YouTube non-profit program. It's a special program for non-profit available in some countries, and you can learn how to share your photos using social networks, for example, like Facebook, or how to use such services like Instagram. So you need to use different channels of spreading your information, and all kind of channels drawn here on trees. You can use social bookmarking, you can use video or podcasts, for example, blogs, forums, etc. And when you conducting search engine optimization, you need to undertake some important steps. You need to conduct keywords analysis. You need to undertake development of your web hub to make it more relevant to keywords searchable by your target audience. You need to think about your page rank. You need to make on-page optimization in terms of content of the web page. You need to analyze your landing page. You can add Google Analytics code to your page, and then you will have all kind of statistics related to visitors of your web page. You need to create links to your web page, and you need, of course, to read reports and do it on the regular basis. So you can find more information about search engine optimization on the internet, and just remember, SEO is really important to make your web hub highly visible on the internet. Then we need to launch our fundraising campaign. In our fundraising campaign, we can use two kind of online promotion tools. First is classic online promotion tools, such as web articles, direct emails, newsletters, using mail lists, forum, etc. All we need here is collect visitors' email addresses on our website. In order to do it, offer something specific in return for that email addresses. Invite visitors to sign up for an email newsletter, a special report, and emailed lists of tips. Something small and attractive. Don't just say something generic like sign up here for more information. It's better to say sign up here for our monthly newsletter, or sign up here to receive a monthly update of our classes or actions, or something else. And when you have a reasonable number of people in your email list, you can establish some way to reach them on a regular basis. It's very important. And maybe the most common way to do it is through an email newsletter. On the first steps, your newsletter might be a simple text message bringing people up to date on the news about your organizations, reminders or events coming up, an update on your fundraising campaign, maybe a short profile about someone, new donors, people need help, etc. As you develop your online marketing communication strategy, you may want to produce an HTML newsletter with images, donate now button, colors, a variety of fonts, and a lot of links. For such a newsletter, you maybe would like to use some kind of newsletter services, and you can also Google for such a newsletter services. And further, you can establish such a system when people will have your most recent blog posts delivered to your email list at certain intervals. And some non-profits with active blogs do this, plus have a formal newsletter that goes out less frequently. And if you still have a lot of supporters that cannot be reached through your online marketing efforts, be sure to send a printed version of your newsletter by mail, and have copies of it at your office and wherever your supporters gather. You can use also so-called modern online promotion tools, including social media marketing tools. You can even undertake whole social media marketing campaign using such tools like blogs, like social networks, maybe Facebook pages, Google+, using Twitter, using video hosting networks like YouTube, using picture hosting networks like Flickr, and others. My frequent advice to you is extend your online marketing with social media. You need definitely to do it. If your audience is young, it's very good, and the young audience often use social networks. But even if your audience is older, you will find that many of them are on the internet, and you can use email or have Facebook profiles to promote your campaign. Social media becoming more important at the search engines, and search engines now using social signals to determine your organization's search ranking. So social media also now can be considered as part of your SEO strategy, and remember, SEO is very important, and that makes it more urgent that you cover the basics. Cover basics to Facebook. You need to set up business page for your charity, not personal page. Set up a Twitter account and Google+. The other basic piece of social media is blog, and you can conduct it on a regular basis. That's because you need to be constantly creating content that you can promote via your social networks. And you also need, and it's really important, to integrate your web hub with social networks. You need integration with social networks, social media, such as like and share buttons and social network widgets. And you can find now on many sites on the internet that they are really good integrated with social media. This creates so-called virus information effect. When one people like or share your information on, for example, on Facebook, all subscribers of that people see that information and can also like and share, and this creates virus reaction. And if your content is really good, it could be dramatically increased through social networks, and you can get a lot of attention to your information, so you can be very high visible and you can get very good fundraising effect. And I would add here maybe some tips and advices for conducting your fundraising campaign. The first is integrate online campaign with offline communication. Do it like a non-stop action. So just remember, it's not enough just to put a donation button on your website and to sit and wait for the money to roll in. Promote your online capacity in your, for example, newsletters, and include your website address or landing page address on all of your collateral materials. It's even better if you establish third level domain based on the second level domain of your website for your landing page, and to provide it anywhere, and such as, for example, donation.your website address.org, and include information about this in all your campaign literature, campaign materials. Put it all together. So integrate your online marketing with your offline communications. Include your URL on almost every piece of printed materials so that you provide to your supporters, donors, volunteers, and media. That means every brochure, every business card, every catalog, annual report, press release, fundraising letter or thank you letter, maybe volunteer applications, event flyers, etc. So use offline marketing to drive your online marketing. Another advice is be considerate. Don't spam. Please don't spam and don't look like a spammer. Don't overwhelm your donors with too much email, and don't use email to the exclusion of other methods of fundraising. Online fundraising should be only one part of well-balanced portfolio of strategies. Some more advices. Ask for informational support from your supporters. Very good advice to increase so-called virus effect. If people donate you can ask them also to put information on their web pages or pages in social media, Facebook profiles, etc. Makes Make events from your campaign and involve media. It's better to make events and to extend media attention to media like events. So if you need to involve classic media like papers or TV or radio, you need to make events during your campaign. And another general advice: be active and motivative. You need to remember that it's going to be a time when your campaign will start, and you need to wait for some times when donations will come to you. So you need to be active during this period, and just remember, it takes your time, and you need also to motivate your supporters and volunteers. Also, very good advice is invite people to volunteer. Getting people to volunteer is one of the best methods of donor cultivation. Indeed, there is a study from the Association of Fundraising Professionals that found that people who are asked to give of their time before being asked to donate real money will ultimately give more money to that organization. So when people ask to volunteer, they easily will give you money. And so close the loop by thanking online donors well. Don't hesitate to send them thank you letters. Thank you letters are really important. Another advice is be personable and transparent. Always provide your contacts. Provide people a list of contacts at your organization. Give names, email addresses, phone numbers, indicate who does what. Say, contact Mary for volunteers opportunities, or contact Mark for information about giving to your organization. Contact Teresa if you would like to be a speaker or to come to our meeting. Just avoid contact forms on websites. These are anonymous and give the impression of sending a message to a black hole. In a world of impersonal contacts, in commercial world of impersonal contacts, it's to non-profits' advantage to be as personable as possible. Outdo even corporate online marketing by putting a face and name on everything you do. Okay. Some more advices. Just remember, great content drives your online marketing. You need always to remember about content. And just remember, websites are no longer just fancy business cards that show who you are and where you are. They are busy hubs of information. Your organization has expertise on an issue you promote. Use that expertise to provide background information, breaking news on your topic, advice, guidance, or support. Mix up content, include articles, photos, video, podcasts, blog. Effective online marketing means changing content frequently, so there is always something new on your website. And another good advice is dedicate a staff member or members to online marketing if it makes sense to your organization. If you have someone who attends to your fundraising or promotion, maybe it's logically to place the responsibility for your online marketing efforts. And if you can hire or invite as volunteer an additional person for online marketing, just do so. maybe you have such a tech volunteer. You can let him or her to help you with your social media, but you need to be a little bit consciousness here. Make sure the volunteer will be around for the long time, and you need to set up specific guidelines for maintaining your social media accounts. So it was some good advices, and in the second part of our video we will see some good examples of online marketing campaigns, and we will see best practices.